If you're getting terrible ChatGPT results while your coworkers seem to know exactly what prompts to use, this video is for you. Maybe you're embarrassed that your ChatGPT responses sound obviously AI generated, or you're scared to use it for important work because you don't trust the results. I get it. I used to get responses that were completely useless, and was embarrassed as well to ask anyone how to fix it. So what I want to do in this video, and probably the second part, is give you 30 specific fixes that will stop making your ChatGPT usage look amateur. So with that said, let's get right into it. Before I dive right into ChatGPT, what I want to say is that most of these tips will apply to different large language models that you can use. So whether you use ChatGPT, whether you use Claude, whether you use Gemini, all of these will have one sort of similar thing or another that you can use based on what I'm about to say regarding ChatGPT. So this is one thing that I wanted to point out. With that said, let's get started with tip number 1, which is the biggest mistake that makes your ChatGPT responses look unprofessional, is trying to ask for everything at once. I used to do this because I thought it would save me time, but ChatGPT just gets confused and gives you generic garbage. When you cram too much information into one prompt, you get those rambling responses that don't actually answer your question. So what should you do instead? You break it down. You ask one thing, you get an answer, and then you build on top of that. For example, let's start with one question or instruction, and we say, what's the best way to prompt a large language model? So one question, one answer, right? It's thinking, because here I'm using the O4 mini model, so there is some thinking involved, and then it gives me the answers based on that. Now, let's say that I want to know more about few shot learning. Then I can say, okay, tell me more about step 3. So then I can say that, it's another thing there, and then this will think again, and it will, in a few seconds, give me the answer about few shot or example learning, why it works, how to use it, an example prompt, formatting tips, and the situations or when to use few shot versus zero shot learnings. And then we have a common pitfalls section right there. So the ability to start with one question or one instruction, get a response, and then make any tweaks you need will allow you to move on to the next step of building of what you just got. It takes a few extra minutes, I'm not gonna lie, but you'll get responses that you can actually use for your work or for whatever it is you're trying to do, instead of having to completely rewrite everything almost every single time. Tip number 2, and here is something that will instantly make your ChatGPT responses sound more professional. Instead of getting generic robot responses, tell ChatGPT to act like a specific person. So you can say, imagine or act like you're my, let's see, let's start a new window here. Over here, let's go to 4.0 so we get faster results. And what I'm going to say is act like you're an experienced colleague explaining this. And even this is not very detailed, right? So we could also do better. And the way to do this could be by saying, imagine you're an expert in the field of marketing. So let's just run with this. And let's say, how can I create a successful ad campaign for YouTubers that want to increase their subscribers? So let's just grab this. Let's run this and let's open up another ChatGPT window. And I'm just going to paste that input in there, just so we're able to compare the two side by side. So this is the just the question, right? And here we have the imagine you're an expert in the field of marketing. So here we're saying define the audience, craft an irresistible hook with possible offers, run targeted ads where they hang out. So it mentioned paid ad platforms, creative formats, angle ideas, optimize for conversion, and then bonus tactics, use your own YouTube channel as proof. Okay, fine. Over here we have the number 1, clarify the audience, craft a pain point driven hook, offer a clear irresistible promise, use creator focused ad formats, and then offer lead magnets, which isn't too bad. It's just a bit too, I guess, generic. So YouTubers are likely to under 10K subs. Your message should hit a nerve. Still stuck at 500 subscribers. Here's why your videos aren't growing and how to fix it. It is quite generic, right? However, here we have things like I use this 3-step framework to grow from 1K to 100K subs in 6 months. So there's a bit more substance to it just by adding that one single statement, right? Imagine you're an expert in the field of marketing. So if you need any sort of breakdown, don't ask a generic question. Tell ChatGPT, imagine you're a X who has done Y and now I need your help with Z. You're a Nobel Prize winner. I'm a student. I need your help with this specific thing. So the more you can do this, the better the output will eventually be. And this works for pretty much anything. Want ChatGPT to think like, I don't know, a marketing pro, an event planner, you just ask it to step into that role, to put on that hat. And the responses will be way more focused, way more relevant, and way more professional. Tip number 3, rename your chats. So many people just have a bunch of chats here in the side panel. So if I share my screen in a second, many people will have something like this, right? And ChatGPT by default does quite well in terms of organizing these correctly. However, if you want to find a chat immediately, you can rename your chat history essentially, so it doesn't look like a hot mess. And believe me, I've been there. Renaming things keeps things organized, so you're able to know which chats are golden and which ones were just, let's say, quick throwaways. So the way to do it is to just go to the chat, you click on the 3 dots, you hit rename, and then you can give this a name. So if this is the marketing campaign, you can just do that. And then that makes it that much easier to find rather than having to go through all of those chats to try and figure out which one it was. You can use something that describes the conversation and then essentially you're all set. And speaking of being organized, you can also delete chats right here. So don't be afraid to delete old chats that aren't serving you anymore. It can help keep things tidy, and honestly, you'll find what you will need a lot faster. So I think that is also very important. Tip number 4 is to use natural language. So gone are the days when you had to talk to ChatGPT like you are programming a robot. These days, you just type like you're talking to a person, and there's no need for funky or long prompt structures or specific keywords. You say what you need, just like you are talking to a friend. So if you want ChatGPT to write a summary or explain something, you just say it how you would normally say it, and ChatGPT will pick up on your vibe. One thing to remember though is to be descriptive. The more detail you give, the better the response. If you have specific requirements, do not hold back. And if ChatGPT's answer needs tweaking, you just say that directly. You say, hey, can you make this simpler, or can you add more examples? Super straightforward, right? Straight to the point, and that's the way forward. So here, if I go to ChatGPT, I don't know, let's say that I want to know what are the things I need to consider when buying a new air conditioner for my office. I can literally go and say that, what are the things I need to consider when buying a new air conditioner for my office? One thing that I will say here, in addition, would be to also ask it any questions that an expert might ask you if they were to be able to answer this question. Imagine you're an expert in air conditioners. What questions would you ask me in order to make it easy for you to give me the answer that I need? So if I just hit enter there, this said it will take the role of an HVAC expert, and it will ask the following targeted questions organized into categories. So what is the size of the office? How many rooms? Ceiling height? Is it open plan or divided? What's your local climate like? So there's a bunch of questions that, I mean, there are 20 questions here that this came up with. And if I were to answer this, it will help me decide between a split system versus a ducted versus multi-split, inverter, non-inverter, smart features, noise level, and placement considerations. So getting it to, or asking it to ask you questions is another great tip to keep in mind. Moving forward, tip number 5, and here's something that most ChatGPT users do not know. You can enable temporary chat. And think of this like incognito mode for ChatGPT. When you start a temporary chat, anything you say in there isn't saved to ChatGPT's memory, and it won't affect future responses. Think or use this when you're handling sensitive work information, or you just don't want the chat to stick around, and this keeps everything private. It isn't for anything sketchy because there will still be guardrails, but it's for when you're brainstorming, let's say, confidential projects or discussing personal matters, and you don't want it saved to chat GPT's memory forever. So then when you're done, you just close it out and you're back to normal, easy and private. So the way to make that happen would be to go up here. As you can see, we have turn on temporary chat. And here we say we get temporary chat is not in history, no model training, and memory is off. I hit continue, and now I get this temporary chat. So it won't appear in history, it won't use or update ChatGPT's memory, or be used to train our models. For safety purposes, we may keep a copy of this chat for up to 30 days. So here I can say, I don't know, I'm feeling, or I feel like I need more motivation to hit the gym recently. Any ideas? So totally get it. Motivation can ebb and flow. So as you can see, it's pretty much the standard sort of back and forth that you can have with ChatGPT. It's just that this is labeled as temporary, so it will not be saved to the chat history. So if I go to new chat, that's pretty much it. There's no history of that specific chat. Tip number 6, turn on custom instructions. So when you go to settings, personalizations, and custom instructions, which I'll show you in a second, you've got normally 2 fields to fill out. And this is what it looks like here under the custom instructions. So I can click on, and I mean, there are quite a few fields, but the two that are the most important, I would say, would be the anything else that GPT should know about you. Possibly under the advanced, there's also these like capabilities enabled as well. I think the 2 most important would be the what traits should ChatGPT have, and anything else ChatGPT should know about you. You can provide a nickname, so it will use this to call you with it. You can also provide what you do. Here, what traits should ChatGPT have? So you can use, or you can tell ChatGPT to do things like use a formal professional tone, be casual and chatty, be opinionated. If a question could have multiple answers, try to give only the best one. So here you can add the stuff, right? And each one you add sort of gets added right here. And you can also free type in there as well. And here there's anything else ChatGPT should know about you. I love hiking and jazz. I'm vegetarian. I'm trying to learn French. So anything additional that should go in there, that is where you would put it. And if you were to save that, this would be specific information that you don't have to fill in each and every time, but rather information that ChatGPT will keep about you, to remember with each interaction you have with it. So you tell it, you provide information, additional context about yourself, your background, preferences, specific needs. So you can set the stage and allow ChatGPT to know exactly who you are right off the bat. What is important is that you don't share any sensitive data right there, right? You're not sharing credit card information. You're not sharing anything that you wouldn't want ChatGPT to know in any other context. It's just so you don't have to keep typing in the same information over and over again. Tip number 7 is about clearing ChatGPT's memory. And again, this is, I think, something that most people don't realize. So if ChatGPT's responses are getting weird or off track, it might be because there's too much clutter in its memory. Over time, ChatGPT can start collecting conflicting information, which will mess with its ability to respond accurately. So from time to time, you should go into the settings and the personalization, which I'll show you in a second, and you can delete the different memories it has about you. And I would suggest you do this at least every couple of months, because this keeps the responses consistent and avoids any memory overload weirdness. So the way to do it would be to go to your saved memories. And as you can see here, ChatGPT has a bunch of memories about me. So Kevin is studying and implementing storytelling techniques. Wants all article intros to follow this structure. So let's say I start getting weird article formatting. This would be the memory to remove. Kevin's creating a workshop on Lovable 101. Is working with a client who wants to create an AI sales agent. So you can delete all right here. You can delete individual memories. And I think this is a good exercise to do every so often. So if you go to settings, personalization, you can manage the memories right here. Tip number 8 is about picking a voice that you like. So ChatGPT can respond verbally and it can narrate responses, but not everyone wants to use the default voice. So to make your experience more personal, what you would do is go to your speech settings, or you go to voice mode right here, and you just click on that. And this will open up the ability to narrate. And as you will see, once I stop talking, this will allow the voice narration to kick in. So what you can do is actually go right here to the settings, and you're able to choose a voice. And you can hear what the different voices sound like. It's starting chat, and then you can have a chat with the new voice you chose right here. And that's pretty much it. So I can X out of that. And you also get a transcript of whatever was said in the conversation in the normal chat, as you always do. So there's a lot of voices, or there's a range of voices, let's say that, each with different tones, different styles. So you can find one that feels more like your ChatGPT. And it's a small change that can make a big difference if you're using it a lot when it comes to this voice narration. Tip number 9, if you work with sensitive or confidential data all the time, but want your chats to remain active, turn the improve for everyone in the settings. So I'm here in my settings. I'm going to go to data controls. Yeah. And you have improved the model for everyone. And all you would need to do is just turn this off. So flip that off. And that is pretty much done. By default, it is on. So just one thing to keep in mind. And it is as simple as that. You just turn off improve the model for everyone. And this keeps your chats stored locally in your account, so you can pick up right where you left off without having any private information shared with the rest of the world. So this is perfect if you're working on confidential projects but still want all the convenience of saved chats. Okay, perfect. So those were the first top 10 tips that I would invite you to use when it comes to ChatGPT if you're not getting the answers that you want, or even if you want to take your answers to the next level. In this multi-part series, we'll continue with the next set of tips very, very soon. So look out for that video. In the meantime, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe so you don't miss future videos. And also let me know in the comments below what sort of videos you'd love to see more of on this channel. So I'm more than happy to take those into consideration. I'll speak to you soon, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.